Hi, my name is Arsal and I'm the Creative Director at Denim.
Hi Dad, my name is Ayaan and I am the future creative director of Denim.
Alright, should we get rolling?
Yes.
Okay. So Ayaan, what do you know about the climate already?
It's when the weather gets very hot. I thought I would be asking the questions today.
Yes, you're right, Ayaan. But I also have some questions up my sleeve for you. So you're right, but the climate is the weather, but it's over a really long period of time, right? And it's influenced by things like volcanoes and the earth turning around the sun. It's all quite natural. But because of us humans driving around in cars and flying in airplanes and throwing away our trash, right, and eating lots of meat, what happens is the climate changes in an unnatural way and the earth gets hotter. And when that happens, some things that we are used to start to change.
How does eating meat change the climate?
That's a funny one, right? Because even I didn't think that would happen. So when lots of people want to eat meat and lots of it, we have to have a lot of cows, right? And cows naturally produce a gas called methane, and that's harmful for the environment.
Is climate change real?
Absolutely, yes. And we are seeing a lot of differences and a lot of changes already happening in the world, right? Like, for instance, the ice on the North Pole has started to melt, and the sea levels are rising, and the sea is getting warmer. But still, a lot of people refuse to believe or accept that climate change is real. And that happens because they cannot notice the changes directly, and the Earth's temperature has been switching around in the past. But just because something is not happening to you directly, that does not mean that it's not really happening at all, right? Many scientists, in fact, most scientists validate this. And I think it's high time that we put this question aside and we all accept it and we move on and we start thinking about what actions we can take to make the future better for all of us. Have you talked about climate change in school, Ayan?
No, but I have read a children's book on climate change.
Oh, that's good. And I'm glad we're having this conversation here today then. So, Ayan, why do you want to help the environment?
Our planet has been always there for us and it is so kind to us that it's just horrible if we treat it like junk. I also really want to save the animals and I am not a fan of hot weather.
Right. Those are very valid points, Ayan. So both nature and animals are a very important part of this world, right? And there are many people working right now to solve this problem. All because they really believe in something and they want to fight for something. Like you. I believe we can all carry our weight, do our own part. I make denim and we work very hard to make sure it's not upsetting the planet. And the same goes for instance, how you go to school, right? If you take the car to school every day, that's not really helping the environment or the animals in it. But if you really have a reason to want to make something better, that makes it a lot easier for you to fight this good fight.
Who is responsible for climate change?
So I guess in a way, everyone is responsible. The adults in this world didn't really think of the consequences when they created this problem, right? We did not realize what the results of our actions would be. And many grandparents and parents did not either. So now the children, our kids, you, have to deal with this problem. Sometimes it's more important to put aside finding out who we should blame. We already know that, for instance, here. And start working on making a better future.
What kind of action are you talking about?
So one of the main problems is greenhouse gases, right? Do you know what a greenhouse gas is?
Is it smoke that sometimes we can see and sometimes we cannot?
So you're spot on, Ayan. It's a gas that comes out from cars and trains and boats and planes and even, for instance, from cows. And what greenhouse gases do is they trap the heat from the sun on Earth and they make it warmer. You can imagine it as a big, thick cloud hovering over Earth. And what it does is it lets heat in from the sun inside Earth, but it doesn't let it out. So when humans decided to build so many more things, right, we had to burn a lot of coal to generate electricity. And we had to burn a lot of fuel so that everybody could drive their own cars. and the earth got hotter inside. And that's what global warming really is. It's the temperature slowly rising. And just 1 degree warmer globally can have a big impact. Maybe in the summer it's not noticeable if the temperature is, more or less 1 degree up or down. But on a global scale, it can have very big consequences like tornadoes or floods or storms or earthquakes. And eventually, what happens is it becomes very difficult for animals and for us to live on this planet. So, one of the main problems, Ayaan, then, is greenhouse gases. So, we have to figure out how we are going to lower greenhouse gases, right? For instance, we can carpool, or we can bicycle or walk when we can instead of taking the car, or we can eat more vegetables. But that's just what I think. I'm interested in knowing what do you think you can do.
We can turn off the lights and air conditioning when we don't need it. We can use recycled paper and plant more trees. And Dad, maybe you can buy me a Tesla Model S, please.
Okay, all right. We'll think about the last one, but why don't you tell me a bit more about the other ones? For instance, how do you think you can use less paper, Ayaan?
We can use recycled paper and we can use both sides, and we can stop we should stop printing useless things. Is climate change reversible?
So that's a yes and a no. We cannot really overnight stop global warming, and maybe not even in the next few years, but we can certainly slow it down, right? And if we were to suddenly stop polluting, all of us, nature would reverse greenhouse gases on its own, and the temperature would start to drop again. But we can't really stop everything, and we can't really stop it altogether, right? Because that would mean a lot of us might not have electricity. We might not be able to turn on the lights at night, or watch movies, or you might not be able to take a hot shower, Ayaan. Is that what you want?
No, no way.
Right. So that's why green energy is very, very important. So, Ayaan, do you know what green energy is?
Is it solar power?
Yes, you're right. So, green energy is any form of energy that we can produce without harming our planet. So, solar power is definitely one of those. But there's, for instance, also wind power or geothermal or hydropower. Solar power and all these green energies are really important because they're cleaner and they help reverse climate change, and they also let us enjoy most of the things that we like doing. But they're very difficult to create. They're expensive and they take time. For instance, designing and building a windmill or a nuclear power plant is not an easy thing to do. But the thing is that green energy is the future, and the more people use it, the better it will become. I remember last time you were here, you were very interested in solar panels that we had. So do you know how many panels we have on that roof up there?
Last time I came, there were around 1,300, but you were installing more.
Right. So we are still in the process of installing more, and hopefully by the end of this year, we will have upwards of 9,700 solar plates, which essentially means that not only all of our power will be coming from solar power, but we would also be giving back to the planet. But the thing is, it's not just about us. We are a small player in sort of like the big pond. But like I always say, it's very important for other companies to jump in and start investing in green energy, because when we all get together, then the impact is much greater. So, Ayaan, what do your friends say about this? Do you guys talk about these things?
We hardly talk about these topics. I feel kids my age know very little. Ariana and I know a little bit more because you talk about it at home all the time.
When I was a few years older than you, we also talked about global warming, right? And my friends and I got together and we decided that we wanted to do something good for the planet. But life is also about living. You go around, you experience things, you grow up. And in those moments, I got lost and I forgot about my promise to my friends and the planet. until you and Ariana came along and reminded me of why this is so important. And I figured out that I could still take care of the planet and do the thing that I love to do, right? And like I say, you always have the opportunity to be part of the solution. I think as long as you remember why you care for the planet and you do your very best to take care of it, I think you will grow up to be a happy and good person. And I'm already very proud that you're already including yourself in such topics.
So it's like you always say you can be part of the problem or part
Right.
of the solution. So when you started caring again, what did you do?
So, for instance, years ago, I came up with the idea of a jacket that would purify the air, but it was just that. It was, we used to call it the unthinkable idea. And that's basically because everyone thought it was unthinkable and impossible. But the great thing about kids is they don't have any limits to the kind of dreams that they have, and they don't really care about what's possible and what's impossible. They just follow their passion and they do whatever they can. And going through this journey sort of brought that kid back inside of me, and I started, believing in these things, and unthinkable ideas started becoming thinkable, and impossible things started becoming possible. And we deliberately went for collection Unthinkable, so it would be an ode to this journey and a reminder to me that every time I thought something was difficult or we could not do it, I could look back at this.
Can we play football?
Yes, of course we can. Let's go.